Hi, welcome back to the Kings of Scream podcast. I'm Daniel.
I'm Tyler.
And today we're going to be looking at Return to House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah. Go back to 2007.
We just wanted to punish ourselves a little bit, you know. I feel like after Fear.com, it was like, you know what, maybe we ought to just keep going. Just keep going. See where it takes us here.
I think Fear.com is in its own category.
It really is, because spoiler alert, I'm not going to be as hard on this one as I was Fear.com. I feel like this didn't quite get as bad as Fear.com did.
Well, I hadn't seen this in a long time. So I was kind of like, kind of into it a little bit. You know, it has its down parts.
Yeah.
And it has its really fucking stupid part.
It definitely does.
And
we'll get into all that here in a second. The main plot of Return to House on Haunted Hill. This takes place, a few years after the original. And so what happened is you get this group of mercenaries who are looking for the statue. It turns out the statue, Baphomet, if I'm pronouncing that right, it's the, demon, Satan kind of stuff, and it has some power, and they're hoping to yield that power. So they take hostages of this professor and his students or whatever who know the shit, and then of course getting caught in the crosshairs is the sister of I think her name was Sarah. Ali Lauder was the character or the actress's name, but Ali Lauder's sister from part one.
Yeah.
So that is the main plot here, and they're kind of trapped inside the House on Haunted Hill. So you mentioned it's been a little bit since you've seen this. Take us back to that very first time you watched this movie. Like, what was your thoughts then? Give us the mini review of what you thought of it then.
Well, I bought it like a dumbass, and I didn't understand why they made another one. I guess because after watching the first one, it's like, what can they use to continue the storyline? And then they use this artifact, that's so important, but very little history on how it got into the doctor's hands. I guess.
They kind of yada yada over that. They're just like. And he just picked it up one day.
He just picked it up.
He's a art collector, so
And the artifact is from like the 1500s.
Yeah, it's an old thing.
So how the hell did he have it? I mean, just give a storyline at least.
Just something.
To let us know
a flashback,
why.
Something,
Like, did he find it as a kid, or did something happen where he carried it with him all the way to be a doctor?
I feel like it's like the Hellraiser puzzle box. Like he just is like some like Moroccan marketplace, and for some reason some guy just has it. It's like, what's that? It's like, oh, you don't want that, sir. That's a cursed statue. I'll take it. Well, I mean, $2 American. Like, oh, okay, I'm sold.
Well, as soon as you tell somebody that it has a freaking background history like that, they're going to be like,
I'll be honest with you, it's funny. I've seen so many horror movies. I know how it goes, but if I'm literally in like a flea market and there's a weird thing there and they're like, oh, you don't want that, it's cursed, I'm like, I want it now. I want that. It's ridiculous, but that's how my mind operates. I'll buy it. Like you, I picked this up not long ago. I mean, I'm talking. Time's kind of weird to me now because it just goes by quick. But maybe 2 or 3 years ago is when I picked this up. So I actually haven't watched it. I didn't watch it when it first came out. I watched it, recently. Picked it up at a half-price bookstore during one of their dollar day, whatever. And it's one of those things where honestly, it was just I got $20 to blow on 20 DVDs. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And so I picked it up. I remember watching it, and I don't know. Rewatching now, I kind of remember, because I honestly forgot about just about everything. The only thing I remember was the 2 lesbian ghosts hooking up with the Asian girls.
Yeah.
And now, like, the only thing that stuck out in my mind. So whenever I just remember, like, you asked me about this one, I'm just like, oh, I remember it had some boobs in it and everything, but I really couldn't remember much beyond that. And so, I don't know, it was just forgettable, and I remember not really caring for it. I didn't hate it. I don't think I completely shit on it, but I just remember thinking like, yeah, it's a bad movie kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was some of the actors as well that I didn't, I guess, really like. I mean, there's a lot of them that I didn't know.
It was literally a lot of, and they weren't good actors. I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot of, home runs.
But, do you know that this movie is on sale on Amazon for $24?
What? Who's paying $24 for Return to House on Haunted Hill?
So Rotten Tomato gave it a 43, which is high. I think it's
for this.
For this,
I still consider rotten, but yeah.
And then the audience gave it a 20. So So
the critics were nicer to this thing
the
than
critics
actual
were
people.
nicer than the people that paid to watch, this movie.
It's hilarious.
They shit on it online.
Yeah. Oh no. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why I picked it because I felt like it's kind of a cool little double feature with I guess Fear.com. They're just trying to go for a shit fest kind of thing.
They're like, why? One of them put, "Why did you even make this?" It's like that upset.
And you want to say like money, but the thing is like this was given a very low budget. Actually, you got the budget right there. You want to go ahead and throw the budget out there for us?
$15.5 million. I mean,
so, and that actually seems like that was more than what wound up on screen. Because the special effects were very hit or miss. There were a couple things that seemed okay, but there's some things you're just like, why'd you CGI that? You can, like, there's a scene about, I guess like we're giving it away if you guys are watching this, or you haven't watched it, go watch it now, then come back. We'll be here. There's a scene where a guy gets like, sheets or curtains wrapped around his arms and legs. And they use like CGI people, and they did a weird effect to him. It's just like, you didn't have to do that. Like, you literally could have just cut to him, pull him, and they cut back to see they're not there, so we can realize, oh yeah, they're ghosts. So when you see close-ups of them, they're there, back away. And the end, when the people who were caught in the crematorium, they were CGI and they looked really bad. And it was just like, oh, you guys, you don't have to CGI everything. Like I get it, but it comes off very cartoony. And I'm guessing that's where the budget probably went, was just trying to make these look somewhat decent.
But I mean, I liked the doctor, that story of him. I like that part.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that drives this freaking movie.
Absolutely.
This whole finding this thing inside the...
So, with the original House on Haunted Hill, I really... the movie itself was... I like it. I will admit, it's not great. It's not a great movie, but I personally enjoy it. To me, the biggest problem with the first House on Haunted Hill is it's very atmospheric, it's very creepy looking, much like the look of Fear.com, but... I don't know, at a certain point, they drop the horror of it, and it just becomes like this race against time trying to get out. And almost, I don't want to say action because I don't want to get off the impression like they're fighting these ghosts. They're not. But it is like thriller. They're just running, and it's like bad CGI chasing them. It's just, I don't know, it no longer becomes scary or creepy. Like, they threw that out the window for this. But the one thing I loved about that first one was the storyline in the very opening when you see, and you didn't know why. And I will give them this in this movie. They do give the backstory of like why the psychotic inmates revolted. It wasn't just the fact that they were crazy, which would have worked well enough. I think that's what was scary about the first one was just how they fucking overtook the doctors and nurses and just went on a freaking rampage. But you're right. In this one, we find out, that this doctor, he picked up the statue, and I guess for whatever reason, he felt the need to go down deep in the bowels of the building and hide it, but whatever. But he was mistreated. I mean, it turns you evil. Now, how it selects who it picks to make go evil and who it doesn't baffles me, as well as how it picks which ghost are going to be evil ghosts and which ones are going to be helpful. Because the same thing in part one, when everybody got turned into a ghost or they died and all the spirits, they were attacking them, like trying to kill them off. Until Chris Kattan, I forget the character's name, but he was you guys know Chris Kattan from SNL. He gets killed by the ghost, and then at the end, when Ali Lauder and I don't know who the black guy was, I can't think of his guy's name, but anyway, the last two survivors are sitting there by the window and they're all stuck and it's all horrible, and there comes the ghost, and then Chris Kattan lifts the shutter up, goes to Chris Kattan, and it's like, well, how did you not become possessed by this? So it doesn't ever explain what the rules are. It's just like
you have a choice.
Just whenever the plot needs you to be good, they're going to be like, this guy's good. So like in this one, for example, you got one guy who was thrown in a crematorium, and he was kind of like leading this ghost revolt, if you will. And again, it's like, well, how did he not get possessed? Because it's like, is it a purity thing? Because Chris Kattan was an asshole in the first movie, and I'm like, this guy. I'm not saying that all crazy people are bad or evil, but it's almost like he had to have done some bad stuff to get put in an insane asylum, I'm assuming. But again, they don't deserve the guy, but it's like, I don't know. It just seemed weird to me that like other people the doctor tortured were like, I'm on your side now, we're all evil together. And then this guy just like, no.
Where it walks up to her and is like, basically showing her the way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm saying, like, what are the rules?
There's no rules to it.
So this was a U.S. and Bulgaria co-production. Kind of a little funny insight here. I checked it on IMDb in their trivia section, and it mentioned that filming was difficult because I guess they use a mostly Bulgarian crew who couldn't speak English. And it's like, I get, and the reason they shot in Bulgaria, in case people were wondering, was A, they did have low budget, but B, I guess U.S. or the companies would get a huge tax break for I hear about that with Canada sometimes, and you hear about that. I think South Africa offers that too, and there's other places like Slovakia or whatever. But Bulgaria, I guess, must be one of these countries too, so that's why they went over there to shoot it. But it's also like I get that, but it's like I don't know, like you gotta have people who know how to talk, they speak the language. So it's like I guess they had to hire 4 different translators just to show up and like communicate between the two. The extras they had, which would have been, I guess, the ghost inmates, because I don't really know where the other extras would have been. I guess in the classroom when they were doing the presentation, but I guess none of the extras spoke English at all. They were all Bulgarian, so it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah. And again, like, I guess you don't really need your extra talking, but it's just kind of funny to me because it's just like if you did want them to say something, it's like you have to teach them a whole phrase just to get them to say whatever.
Why not just fit some people in that
Yeah.
Right into.
But then again, I guess it's a budget. It all is all about the budget, I guess. Speaking of that budget, that's why Ali Larter did not come back. Apparently, it was just money. She was just like, "You gotta pay me this much," and they're just like, "We can't do it." She's like, "See ya, bye."
So I wonder how much they paid for her to be the ghost.
So it wasn't her. They recasted her actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't actually Ali Larter. They actually had to recast and get a double. And again, they put the hair in the face, so you can't really tell. And it worked. I mean, honestly, because I don't think I knew Ali Larter wasn't in this last time I watched it, or the first time I watched it. It's the first time. The only time I watched it before this. So I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like I was just like, oh God, they got someone new. This is horrible. No, I was like, I really didn't know. So Ali, you can keep your job or whatever. Stay out all you want. We're not paying you. We got someone that did your job. Normal. So I guess before we get to plot, we'll kind of hit a couple other things here. So. You watched it online, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I watched it on DVD. My DVD didn't have this, but apparently they shot this with multiple scenes, and on the Blu-ray edition, if you're feeling up to it, you can go out and buy this on Blu-ray, and it will have almost like a choose-your-own-adventure type storyline. So then, the girl is in there with the 2 lesbian ghosts, and I guess you can even do the option of do you want her to stay or run away? Because in the movie she runs away, but I guess if you want more titties for your buck, you get to add this scene. This happens throughout, I guess. And so I guess a lot of the choices are pretty nothingness. I guess there's only one major plot line that you can alter. I don't know what it is. I didn't do much research in it. They were calling this the navigational cinema. The only other time I've seen this happen that wasn't meant to be like an actual choose-your-own adventure was Final Destination 3. The DVD had the option where if you wanted to, you can kind of choose what they do or whatever. And I only tried it first, and I literally just did the whole, they don't go on the roller coaster, and it's just it ended it right there for you. Oh. That's it. It's over. That's it. Roll credits.
I'm glad I paid $29.99 for that.
So I guess if the people at home, if you maybe didn't like Return to House on Haunted Hill, maybe you can make it better yourself by doing the Choose Your Own Adventure method here.
Them are those books that we used to have when we were kids. When you turn to page 149 if you want to do this.
Yeah.
150. That stuff. I always like that stuff.
I love, Choose Your Own Adventure. I love all the knockoffs. Goosebumps had Give Yourself Goosebumps. They all had a little thing, but I was always big on that because I don't know, made reading more interactive and fun.
You can play on my TV. I have a thing where a guy's doing survival, and you pick what he does.
Oh, that's kind of cool. See, I do like that.
No, I want you to starve for the next 3 days.
I guess I'll have to pay the $23 whatever to get this Blu-ray and try to play the game on this. This was brought to us by Dark Castle Entertainment. Dark Castle kind of had a big run there, and I think they came back recently, but I couldn't tell you the movie now to save my life. But Dark Castle was known for doing movies like House on Haunted Hill. They did Ghost Ship, 13 Ghosts, Gothica, which they had maybe House of Wax. They did a handful, and they were always kind of hit or miss. I always felt like they had the best look to them.
Yeah.
But storyline wise, or like I said, just trying to make I think 13 Ghosts is another good example of that, where I think it's creepy as hell. I love the storyline, but then by the end, it's no longer a horror movie. It is just kind of like this action adventure. Ghost Ship, same way. It's it starts off very creepy, and I will say Ghost Ship has one of the best horror movie openings ever. But in the movie itself, when it gets to the end, it's just it's no longer a horror film. Literally now they got guns, they're shooting at each other, and she's trying to detonate the hole in the side of the ship. And it's just I don't know. It's just the horror movie just kind of dissipated out of it. So
Ghost Ship, the first part of that opening, yeah, I don't think anybody can top that. That's
the only closest I can think of as far as an opening goes. Not necessarily a kill. Well, I don't know. Do you ever see The Collector?
yeah.
All right, Collection. Which one's part? Whichever one part two is.
The Collection?
In the nightclub where the fucking things all. That's about as close as you're gonna get to just mass brutality. That's just like son of a bitch, you know. But you're right though. Ghost Ship is in the it's up in the higher echelons of horror openings right there. So especially for body count too. I mean, when you do just straight up kills, it's like it's tough to beat that one because it's just like
the opening horror to this one was pretty lame.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like maybe that girl should have came out of the TV.
You know what? Would have helped out a lot. Just give yourself a Sony, plug that bad boy in, and let her crawl out of the well. So we'll talk about the cast a little bit. You mentioned you didn't really recognize a lot of them. So the only three I recognize, aside, I guess three. Because we already talked about him before. Jeffrey Combs, who plays the Doctor. Mm-hmm. We talked about him last month. He was in Fear.com. He was the partner of Steven Dorff, who shows up on screen, looks bored as shit, and everything. Like, he looks like he's actually trying here, so it's just like, I don't know, I will still stand by that. He must have been pissed or something about Fear.com, or just bored, or just realized this is shit, and I'm not going to put much effort into it. Here he does all right. I think he does pretty good. In fact, he has more of a role here than he did in part one, because part one, it was more about the ghost of him just kind of popping up on you. You didn't really have a whole lot of plot or story, so.
But I like how they used him.
No, absolutely. Like I said, a horror icon, best known for Reanimator and The Beyond and stuff like that. Just Castle Freaks maybe. He may have been in Castle Freaks, but either way, Jeffrey Combs, big thumbs up for this guy. Yeah. Frighteners. He was in Frighteners. I love him in Frighteners. Yes.
I like Frighteners. Yeah.
So the other two that I recognize right off the bat here, the one playing Sarah's sister, I can never pronounce her last name. I think it's Amanda Ritty.
Ritty?
The only thing I know her from is she did, and I mean, I looked her thing up, her bio, and I want to say that right now. I looked up a lot of people's bios here. When I said they didn't do anything, that's not completely true. It's just a lot of shit I don't watch. So,
a lot of them had like 4 or 5 movies they've done and one that I've watched.
Yeah, so same here. And so it was just like, I don't know. Amanda Ritty, she was in the Friday 13th remake in 2009. And, she plays whoever the guy from Supernatural is, his little sister. He's the one he's looking for. And I think she did good here. Again, I don't know if she's done a lot of horror films, but she's either doing all right. So, I mean, I'd be down to see more of her. And then Serena Vincent was the other one, which people may know as she was Marcy on Cabin Fever. Gets naked in that movie too. Actually, you know what else she got naked in? And that was like her whole character.
What's that?
Not in her teen movie. She was just the naked foreign exchange girl that shows up.
Oh, yes.
That was her.
Oh, my gosh.
So if you guys want to see Serena Vincent naked, there are 2 recommendations right there. She was another one that she did I forget the name of the movie now. It was a bad low-budget movie, but the guy who was like getting these people, like he got good actors, like good horror actors, but like he got them on there for like a scene and that was it. And then he just made this crap film. And when Serena Vincent found out, she's like, "Can you please just take me out of that?" And he was just like, "No, I gotta have your name." So like they're like all these horror actors' names are like on top of the poster. And they're in it for like a minute or 2 a piece, if that. Like her scene was like she's on the bus, and that's it. Like she sees the killer at the very end of the movie. He says hi to her. She kind of gets a weird vibe, and then he sits there, and we fade to black. And it was like, you didn't need Serena Vincent for that, but whatever. I met her once actually at a horror convention back in 2013. And she was really nice. I didn't get a chance to really talk to her. I kind of honestly felt a little embarrassed because at the time I didn't know what else she's done. It wasn't until later on that I was like, oh shit, she was in 9/13 movie and Cabin Fever or whatever. So I felt kind of bad about that. I think maybe I knew she was in Cabin Fever. I didn't know she was in this, I guess. So I didn't want to go approach her and be like, I liked you in that one movie you did, and that's it. So, but she was, when I did talk to her, say hi to her, she was very nice. So Serena Vincent, if you're listening out there, you got fans here, at the Kings of Scream podcast. No one really else to note on this, and I'll be honest with you, the acting was just kind of so-so.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, a lot of the actors were actually British, playing Americans in this movie. The guy who played Desmond, the main villain, the professor, and I want to say maybe even the boyfriend of Ariel or whatever the fuck her name is.
the
main girl,
yeah.
Ali Larter's sister, was British as well. So yeah, just a bunch of Brits kind of taking over this thing. So we'll get to the fallout of this movie. So anything from the movie you want to talk about? Anything from the actual film that you want to touch on?
Well, actually, they've got some pretty cool kill scenes.
Let's hear it. I want to hear what scenes really kind of grabbed your attention here.
I do like the, and I know you kind of shit on it, but where the guy gets pulled apart. I wish they would have done it a little bit differently.
Yeah,
but
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the effect didn't look bad. My main gripe was just the way they kind of CGI'd the ghost. It was just kind of like, do we really need that? I don't know.
What was it? Yeah, the furnace.
Yeah,
the furnace part. Now that was, because I guess being trapped with fire, I guess that kind of like gets to me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, effective kill scene, but also it was just the bad CGI that ruined it for me. You just seen all these like little fire ghosts running around. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, they could have done some things differently with like how they put the ghost inside.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you can just use regular people. Like you don't have to like CGI them up. Just have them there. Like I said, if you want to do and they did this quite a bit, where you can kind of flash and they're gone, come back, they're there. I'm okay with that. But it's just like whenever, and it wasn't a lot of it. It's just, I don't know, a handful just seemed to get the CGI treatment. It was just like.
One thing that pissed me off was,
let's hear it,
when they were shooting the gears of the house. It's still gears.
I was just like, any ricochet from this?
No, then they're just standing right in front of it. Like, it's not going to come back and hit us because that physics of that life does not apply to this moment.
Metal piercing bullets, I guess, and they're just like, you worried about any backlash?
She does the same thing with the handgun when she shoots a statue.
Yeah,
like, what are you doing?
And again, just like, really, that's your go-to? Like, son of a bitch.
You guys bring guns to a ghost house.
Well, the other thing about it, like the bad guys, I can kind of see to a certain degree. Cause I guess they're going to kidnap or whatever and kill whoever gets in their way, kind of thing. But it is funny. Like, once they are looking around the house, they are walking around with the guns, and I'm just like, Ghost pops out. You're not shooting the ghost, But
the guy that was on the wall, that he was using the knife to look through.
Yeah.
And then they start pulling his inside.
Yeah.
That was I like that. It was a pretty
good
cool
gory
part.
scene right there.
Yeah.
Again, it was kind of a cheesy scene, but I like the scene where he cuts up the Asian girl's face. Yes. And it just melts right off, and then it's just like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Like, look good.
You remember what fell on the girl's head? What was?
Was that a refrigerator?
That's what I thought it was. A refrigerator.
So I'm watching this with my girlfriend Angel, and it was just like, I don't know, refrigerator. I'm just like, what? And that's the other thing that bugged me too. Aside from just a refrigerator dropping on a girl's head, the ghost. It seems like they're unstoppable. Yeah. So like when you get a bad guy by himself, and he's just like, oh, where are they at? And then they just like grab him. They can throw him in a wheelchair and just fuck his world up. And yet, why are they struggling with the whole group then? Yeah. Like, why is it like they just like concentrate on each person? And then they don't have to wait to split them up. It's not like a serial killer who can get out, numbered. He can get outpowered. Michael Myers did that in Halloween Kills, get ganged up on his ass. These are ghosts. Yeah. You're not ganging up on ghosts. You can literally, when they're in that lobby, just like, we're going to look around. The ghost just be like, yeah, we're ghosts. Boom, you're dead. Whoa, we win. And I know arguments going to be like, well, some of the ghosts wanted the people to find the statue and then, get out. But it's like, yeah, but the demon, the actual Satan that's running the thing, he's overpowering these other ghosts. So it's like, I don't know. The whole time it's like, I feel like this ghost could kill these people so easily and we can move on. And it just seems like the scene at the end, jumping ahead, when she's trying to throw the statue down the shower drain and the guy catches her. And I'm like, all right, just rip her head off. And he's just like, I will throw you against the wall. And it's like, why? You could rip her in half right now.
Anybody else, he would have.
And he does. When the other guy gets up, he just like messes him up, keep bashing his head against the wall. And it's just like, you could kill any of these guys you want, and you choose not to. I don't know. Same thing in the pool scene where the hydrotherapy, whatever the fuck that tank was.
Yeah. There's
like several ghosts in there. And then they get out, and the one guy gets left behind, and I'm like, why are there more ghosts popping out right now, grabbing the girl too and dragging her down? Makes no sense. And again, it's just like, I don't know. And if you make the argument, it's like, well, they need that girl to live. It's like, well, that Ryan guy or Kyle, whatever the fuck his name was, like, he was a good guy. He wasn't one of the mercenaries. So it's like, he would have been one that would have helped you try to get the idol out as well. So I don't know. To me, it just seemed like, these ghosts were just very inconsistent in how they haunted, how they killed, and who they let survive. I don't know. It bugged the shit out
that was
of me.
probably one of the things that they could have worked on a little better. I mean, considering the fact that is like the main part of the storyline is the ghost protecting, the house.
And if you want to keep the ghost powerful too, then you could have cheated it a little bit. Like they say, like make a ring of salt that can ward off spirits. So you can do something like that, even like where it's just like somehow someone just happened to have salt on. They go to the kitchen, they find old salt water, and just like whoa, and then the ghosts flutter away. I'll buy that. I'll be like, all right, yeah. I mean, it looked cheesy as hell, but sure, it works. But nope, here there's like pick and choose. Speaking of ridiculousness. I love when the Asian girl goes into this scene. I mean, clearly like the scene for reasons obvious. But I just like how these two girls are there making out. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, even if, don't get me wrong, I mean, any, hot-blooded guy would be like all over it. But at the same time, it's just like, would you not think for a second, like, wait, what are you doing here? Are you guys squatters? Because honestly, you look too hot to just be squatters, you know what I mean? So it's just like already red flags should be going up. The fact this girl, and again, I'm not faulting the girl. I mean, who knows? Maybe that same situation, I'd be like, yeah, logic's stupid. I don't care. I'll make out and get a handy J from one of these beautiful ghost lesbians. But she goes to make out with him, and you're just like, why? This shouldn't be right. And it's like, dude, don't you know your boss will fucking kill you if you're jacking around on the job? Apparently not.
Well, I think that they use that mesmerized kind of feeling
maybe
it first starts to happen.
So like the professor at the end kind of gets possessed slightly from it. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there is some kind of like what do they call it when vampires do it to you, glimmering, shimmering, whatever it's called. But like they can glamour you. That's what it is on True Blood. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they So I'll buy that. They should have showed a scene where it shows her kind of go, kind of like she's clearly hypnotized or something, but. We didn't get that scene. We just went. It's almost like the director's just like, I want some titties and I want a lesbian scene. They're like, sir, this is a ghost movie. Like that wouldn't even make sense. Like make it happen. It's like, all right.
It's like the ghosts are in love with each
other. A couple girls, bring him out here. And they're like, really? He's like, yeah. He wants lesbian shower scene. I guess so. Fuck it.
I was trying to figure out like where they were going to go with that kill if those two.
Yeah, like what would have been like I guess, because weren't they strapped down and put on like an electric shock? Or wasn't that like their flashback when you see him? I would have guessed probably something like that. It would have probably held her down, strapped her into the machine, and just like turned on like full blast and just electrocuted her.
I do like the flashbacks.
I'm saying, like, again, I think we both kind of went into this movie just wanting to shit on it, and it's like, no, there really is a lot of good. Like, there's definitely way more good in this movie than there was Fear.com. Like, Fear.com, we're struggling to find something good. Here, it's like, no, there really was. I mean. Aside from some bad acting, the three that we mentioned, they did good. I thought,
they had 9 kill scenes.
9 kill, good body count. And I mean, I do like the idea. Again, I like people being trapped. I like isolated horror. I like trying to get out kind of thing. So check that box for me. The look was good. The flashbacks were good. The story I actually liked. Do we need to have an explanation why there's people going crazy? Not really, but if you're going to do it, I didn't think it was that bad. Again, they should have showed more of it, how he came in possession of this, statue. Why? Like, at the end, like, well, what's your end game exactly? I want to know that, So it's just like, I don't know.
So does that leave the door open for it to go back to that story of how he got it?
We're gonna get there. We're going to worry about that. Let's get through the rest of the movie. We'll talk about what happened with part 3 there, or the movie that never was, I guess. Anything else from this movie you
No, I mean, other than they did what they could, I guess, with what they had. I mean,
so as you mentioned, it had a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 4.5 currently on IMDb. So I mean, honestly, it's considered low horror. It really is. We couldn't find like a box. It was a straight-to-video movie, so it wouldn't be a box office. But I couldn't find like even what the DVDs made. But apparently, it made so poorly. So there was plans to do a part 3. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Did you watch the post-credit scene?
No.
You missed out on a couple more titties. So, if you remember at the end of the movie, they throw the statue into the sewer thing and it flushes out. Yep. That's the other thing, too. You can tell that building was so CGI. Like, it was just like, there's no building there. Like, oh my God. And it was even worse when you see the drain coming out, the water and all that stuff. So, we end the movie with everybody just walking out. And I will say, that was the one thing I thought was really funny about the original. And they do kind of somewhat touch on it. They portrayed the Ali Larter character from part 1 as just being crazy with her story. Because my whole thing was like, the way that movie ends was her and that guy are stuck on top of this window thing, and they got all the cashier's checks that they were promised, but everybody's, and they were all just made out of cash. So like, I think we just say there's $5 million in checks.
Yeah,
But it's like, okay, how you gonna cash them?
Yeah.
And what story are you gonna tell where we're gonna be like, wait a minute, this is, I forget the guy's name, something Price, he signed
David
these checks
Price.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
he signed it over to you guys, and he went missing, and now we're letting him get murdered. So, but anyways,
I'd still try to cash it.
oh no, who wouldn't? $5 million, give it, roll the dice. So when the movie ends, we cut to a beach. Or after the credits, we cut to a beach, and it's a guy and girl, and you never see them talk on camera. It's like the camera's always just cutting the head off, or their backs to it. So I'm guessing these are probably Bulgarians who probably couldn't speak English, and we got some good dubbing, because honestly, it doesn't sound natural when you hear these people talking. But anyways, they start making out. We get the top just completely taken off, so get some boobies there. I'm going to the camera that's not here. I'm just giving thumbs up to the